10:05. The first item on the agenda is the list of bills. Can we scroll on down to that, Veronica, page 6?
Yep.
10:05.
Well, maybe. Let's see here.
Michelle, yeah, there we go. Michelle, is there anything out of the ordinary that you would like to talk about on the list of bills?
Yes, excuse me. Under L80 miscellaneous, the MSY funding, you'll see that ALCO has a payment from June. The only reason we're paying it at this point of time in the year is because it was the MSY funding and it was drawn down specifically for that individual. So that adjustment will be made back to the fiscal year 20 year end. And other than that, I think everything else is pretty normal. There's a shared agreement with Tuscarawas County Board of DD that we were paying. It's there at the end, 908 JFS. Other than that, we're good. Any questions?
Were they just delayed in getting us the bill, Alco?
I think they thought they sent it, and then when Pat started reconciling his figures, he realized that it didn't get sent, that we didn't receive it. So, and he wanted paid.
I get it.
What is the Fox run in October?
That was for a couple of days of residential for a young lady, and that was out of the MSY funding.
Okay, and Hiddle House, is that the same type of thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
What other questions do we have about our list of bills?
I move that we accept the list of bills.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Next item on the, excuse me, on the agenda. Is the calendar year 2020 end of the year budgetary adjustments on page 7. Okay, back to you, Michelle.
Okay, these are just adjustments that need to be made to the revenue and the expense report, or revenue and expense accounts at the county auditor's office. This is just to prepare us for the end of the fiscal year so that we're not exceeding anything or under on anything, just a reconciliation type thing. I did just group them up by fund instead of giving all the detailed line items. I will be reporting the detail to the county auditor's office so they know where to remove or add things. But other than that, we really didn't do too bad. Everything was pretty much, you know, we reduced it. The big reason there's some reductions, such as the L50 fund, is because we received that large amount of money from the trust, and we encumbered it, or we appropriated it in case it was going to be spent, but it wasn't spent. So that's the biggest portion of the 137,000 that you see there. But that's about it.
And just by the way of revisiting, we were able to get, there was an individual that passed away that had a trust identified, and the location that they had identified the trust to go to no longer existed. And so both the bank that was managing the trust and the court called together providers and people systems to talk about who was the most appropriate place for the trust to go. Adams, DD, Family and Children First Council. I think there was someone else there, but I can't remember who, but we all kind of came together and agreed that Family and Children First Council would be the most reasonable option. So there was no discussion in court about any, competition of who was going to receive that. So we have that money kind of just sitting and waiting for an opportunity to spend it where there's no other funding resources. Anything else any other questions that you have about our amended budget certificate or that trust fund?
Was that the Charlotte Johnson Trust? Or was
Yeah.
it a different one? Okay. I just noticed that it says CY 2020 everywhere except on the headline above revenue and expenditures.
You are correct. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I will fix that. Definitely when I send it over to the county for sure. I don't want them correcting the budget.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, sure.
I'll move that we approve it with that change, that correction.
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. What is the next item on our agenda? Okay, we had built our FY21 budget with salary increases, but we did not approve them because we were in the middle of a pandemic. We didn't know what our funding was going to look like. We're at a point where we are moving along pretty well. We're being fiscally conservative, pulling in every other funding option that we can. The Adams board at our November or October meeting, I can't even remember at this point. I think it was November. Retro to July 1st, our salary increases, and we are asking for the budget committee to consider the same for Paige. And it's a 3% increase, correct, Veronica?
Yes.
And everyone else has received that at this
Correct.
time.
Correct.
I would make that motion.
I would second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mark?
I said aye. Everything froze there for a second.
There's only two of you, so it's hyper focus here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that motion carries as well. Veronica, is there anything else Budget Committee needs to talk about?
I don't think so at this time.
Michelle, anything else Budget Committee needs to talk about?
Nope, but we will be doing another calendar year budget for 21 in February when we meet again, just to be able to include our year-end figures for our certificate and appropriations.
You know, I do want to say one more thing before we end the meeting. We'll be talking about this, I'm sure, at the full board, at the governing board meeting, but Mark, you won't be there. So we are entering into an agreement, a contract with the ESC, who has grant funding for a family school liaison. It's a 30-hour-a-week position from December 2020 to December 2021. We're going to take those remaining 10 hours and move a council manager into that role. So the individual will be doing both school and family connections, as well as some of the council manager functions that Josh was doing and Veronica's and Daniela's have been doing in the interim. And then when the grant is done, the plan is to move that individual into the council manager position, potentially full-time. We'll see what the need and what the funding looks like at the end of that year. But I just wanted to let you know that's going to be coming up on our budget in the future, and we're going to be discussing that at the full board. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't know a whole lot about it, but I don't know what to ask at this point.
I understand.
Nellie, I would add, so through the grant, it will be 30 hours per week. So will there be any benefits or fringe on top of that? What?
Yes.
And then that would be looking at that also in December of 2021, moving from, would it still remain a 30-hour position or a 40-hour position?
You know, we had maintained an individual with full-time benefits and fringes and salary with Josh. And we continue to be aware of that as we were building this budget and then the pandemic hit. So it's not the council manager position is not a salary that's through the roof. I feel like we can sustain it, but at minimum, we will look at reduced hours if we can, and whatever position we offer this person, knowing that it's done in December 2021, the salary that we offer him or her will be something that council can maintain when the grant's done.
Okay, and that I would think that might come up in the governing board. So
Yeah.
Okay.
It's it's both good and it's, a little stressful to do a grant position like this, but the position needs filled. We can partner with it for a year. The outcome is aligned with our mission. So we are moving forward unless you all tell us not to.
Well, in the 30 hours is really going to be ESC hours. I mean, the 10 hours is going to be, it's only going to be 10 hours for council and 30 hours for the ESC. I mean, we're just going to be very clear in our interviews that this is a 1-year position, and that could turn into something different after December of next year. But I want to be as transparent as we can that the salary that's being offered, that the potential salary that could be offered this year is due to a grant. Like if
Well, and I would say that we're offering a salary that's going to be consistent this year or next year. I don't think that we can offer a salary that's $10,000 higher than we will be able to offer if they go full-time council next December.
And that's why I just want to make sure that the interview committee's all on the same page about the salary. I said, because what funding is available this year for this grant position potentially could look differently without that partnership. I don't know how we, I don't know. I just think,
Go ahead.
no, I'm done.
Ron, will you put us back to full screen so we can
Yes, ma'am.
dear? I just called her dear.
I'll take it.
Okay, Michelle, sorry, what were you going to say?
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that our intention at this point is for the council to be paying the full amount and then be reimbursed by the ESC. Is that correct, Natalie? I mean, that's okay. I did have one question though. Insurance. How is insurance going to be handled?
How is it, what do you mean, how is it going to be handled? And you know what, these are all things we can work out internally outside of budget.
No problem.
What other, Mark and Bob, do you have any other questions about it?
no, I think you covered that for that person going in, being clear that, hey, this is a grant, this is a partnership. Something could happen, good or bad at the end of it, but this is a 1 year, and certainly everyone hopes that it would move into a more of a permanent position, but just as long as they understand and as long as the insurance and those things are considered within the total cost, that's, those are just communication things.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay.
And I heard from Sylvia, she is under quarantine and her internet is not working at home, so she will not be able to be a part of any of our meetings today.
Excuses.
I know.
Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Use the different link, use the green link now to get into the next meeting.
Merry Christmas, Mark.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Thanks, Mark.
Everyone.